to my video series on RDZ and the mainframe. For this video, I'm going to be actually connecting to the mainframe proper again. We're going to be taking some COBOL source code from our local machine and moving it to the mainframe, compiling, linking it, and executing it there on the mainframe, and then looking at the output. So let's jump right into it again. Bring up our virtual machine with Windows running. Hopefully someday they'll have RDZ and Linux, and I can do away with this altogether. But for now, this is all I've got. So over here, I've created a folder with the files I'm going to need on the mainframe. And let me open these up. We'll just take a look at them real quick. This first one is the student master record. You should be familiar with that by now. The second one is our COBOL source code. I'm not going to show you my source because this is an assignment and you're just going to have to do it on your own, but needless to say, this has all my code in it. And over here is an example JCL, and you're going to be getting one that's very similar to this. We're going to have to make some edits to this to make it work right for your specific user, but that should be all we need. So let's go ahead and connect to the mainframe. What I've done here is just created a new workspace. Everything's fresh and new. I'm going to get it set up for remote mainframe connection here. All you really need is this remote systems tab and this main edit window. We're going to create a new connection. Make sure you go to next and change this port to 4047. Go to next and change this port number 4047, and then you can finish. And I'm not even going to bother creating a green screen connection unless I really need to, so we'll just connect over here. And so you just right click here, go to connect. And the first time you connect, you're going to have to type in your username. And I'm going to be using C332219 for this. The first time you connect, you'll get this untrusted certificate. Just click finish. You'll have to change your password to something new. Continue to click finish. And yes, we want to continue on this secured connection. You really don't get too much indication that your connection was successful. But if you'll expand MVS files and then my data sets, you'll see that it has a filter here. That means you're connected. If you see that, you're connected. The first thing we want to do is put our source code up on the server. And so we need to make a container for our source code. And to do that, right click MVS files and go to allocate PDS. And we're going to call this COBOL.source. Go to next. And the category is source. Type is COBOL. Go to finish. And then we want to create a file to put our source code in. So right click on this newly created PDS, go to create PDS member, and give it the member name Lab07B. Click finish. And now if you expand that, you'll see that we've got it there. So double click on it to pull it up in our editor, and it will be empty, and that's okay. Now we want to get our 3 files that I have open in Notepad over here. we want to get these opened up into RDZ. So I'm going to close this and open those up here. Okay, we'll come to our COBOL source code, do a select all, copy, come over here to the PDS that we just created, the sequential data set we just created, and paste that code in there. Save that. You can close that, we'll close that, and just to make sure that it copied and saved everything okay, we'll open it back up and double check that it's all there. Okay, now we need to take our student master record over to the mainframe, and this is where it can get a little confusing. It's really important to know how long each record is. And so what you can do is just click over here on the right at the end of the record, and if you're not sure that's the end, get your scroll bar and put the cursor right at the beginning, or right at the end of the record, right at the beginning of the last character in the record. And that's going to tell you how long that record is, 104 characters long. So that's an important number to remember. We'll come over here and we're going to create, instead of creating a container for our data here, we're just going to create it as a data member under all of our data sets. So kind of like a file in the root directory, if you will. So we'll right click MVS files and allocate a sequential data set, and we're going to call this one StuMast. Go to next. And right here you're going to specify characteristics. Go to next. And the record length is that column length that we just checked here. So 104, that's what's going in here, is the record length. You don't need to change anything else. Go to finish. And you'll see it refresh. And we'll open that new data member up, and it is empty. We'll come over here and do the same thing we did with our source code. Copy it out of that, paste it into that. Make sure we got all the columns. Looks good. Let's save it. And we're done with that. We'll close it. We're done with that. We'll close it. Now for the JCL. We need to create a new container for our JCL, since we'll have more than just this one eventually. So again, come up here to MBS files, allocate PDS, and we're just going to call this JCL. And this will be the folder where we store all our JCL. Category is source, ACM, type is JCL. Go to finish. And now we've got a new folder over here. Right click it. Go to create PDS member. We're going to call this Lab07B. Go look. There it is. Open it up. And one more time. Copy everything here. Paste it over here. And we need to make some changes. If you'll read these notes, it kind of describes to you what you need to do. And we've already put our source in the right place. We've already put our input data file in the right place. The go in file and go out file I will talk about in a moment. But everywhere you see your IDXX, that's not right. Everywhere you see this ##, you need to put your unique username identifier there. And then this first one here, make sure you've got some extra character out here. This is